going, Ashley?
Are you having a good time at F8?
Yeah, total blast.
I mean, I don't know if you can see all of that, but it's kind of amazing.
It's amazing, yeah. What's your, go ahead.
What's been your favorite thing?
I think my favorite thing, certainly like the production value of the whole setup is just phenomenal and mind-blowing. In terms of announcements, I'm obviously partial to the Parse stuff. But I think App Links is really cool, as well as the Audience Network.
For sure. I think I'm really excited about all the on-site stuff.
Yeah.
The Oculus line has not died down.
Yeah, it's super
which
long
makes me
still.
really happy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the after party, and the food was great.
Yeah,
So the launches have been amazing, but I really like the on-site experience.
Yep.
So speaking of launches, Ilya, our faithful co-founder, today said we're doing new Parse pricing, and you worked on that.
Yeah, I worked closely with Ilya on the new Parse pricing, as you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think for context, I guess the original pricing plan was put up about 3 years ago when Parse was still in beta, and customers were asking Ilya, this sounds great, but how much is it actually going to cost? And so Ilya scrambled, typical startup mode, and just quickly put together a pricing page, threw it up on the site. I think the expectation was that when we came out of beta, we would come out with new pricing. It turns out developers liked our pricing enough, and so fast forward 3 years, we've got over 260,000 apps on Parse, and we haven't changed our pricing still. 1 year into the acquisition by Facebook seems like a good time to do so in a way that will meaningfully,
affect
developers and their ability to build on Parse.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe it's been 3 years.
Yeah, me
Crazy.
neither. Yeah.
Cool. So when you were thinking about what to do with pricing,
yeah.
What were the three main things you were looking for?
Yeah, good question. So I think we were really trying to make Parse simpler, more self-service, and then just generally less expensive across the board. So in terms of simplicity, it used to be that you had to jump from a free plan to our pro plan, which is $200 a month, to talk to sales and probably a plan that would be upwards of several $1,000s a month, and then beyond that it just got even more and more confusing. So in terms of simplicity, there's now just sort of one thing that you need to think about when it comes to Parse pricing, and that's the number of requests per second. Everything else will sort of auto-magically take care of for you. In terms of more self-service, you previously had to talk to sales anytime you wanted anything beyond what our Pro tier offered. So if you wanted a request limit of more than 40 requests per second, you had to talk to sales. If you wanted to increase your number of concurrent background jobs, you had to talk to sales.
Nobody wants to talk to sales.
No one wants to talk to sales, yeah. And developers in particular, they're kind of launching and iterating. They want to move fast. They want to be able to control these things themselves. So we've made this really dead simple and self-service so that developers can now provision the resources that they need for their app on their own without talking to us. And then the third thing, like I mentioned, is just making things, more free or more, less expensive across the board. A lot of the features that we previously charged for are now completely free. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So easier, cheaper, and easy to scale, pay-as-you-go type situation.
Exactly.
Cool. So that's kind of an overview of what pricing is. Let's talk about what it means for each of the pillars of Parse. So there's Parse Core, you know this. There's Parse Core,
sure.
Parse Push, and Parse Analytics. And so for Parse Core, it does things like data storage and social integration with Facebook and Twitter and our wonderful hosting product. What does that mean for Parse Core for the pricing updates?
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I launch specifically into Parse Core, one thing I want to stress, and I think you and I have talked about this at length, the coolest thing about the new pricing is that all of the limits are now at the app level, whereas previously they were at the account level. So for instance, previously you got 1 million API calls for free per month across all your apps. So if you're a developer who has a lot of apps, you might hit those limits more quickly than other developers. Moving forward, all of these limits and everything I'm about to describe is going to be at the app level.
So they don't have to create multiple accounts.
Exactly.
And pretend they
game
have
the system.
Yeah,
right.
all your apps under one account.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So from now on, a developer will go to parse.com and click sign up. There's not going to be different tiers that they have to select from and get confused and have buyer's remorse. They just sign up for one account. It's completely free. Within that account, they can create as many games or apps as they'd like. We don't have any limit on that. For each app that they create, they're going to get 30 requests per second, a 30 requests per second limit for free, and we're completely removing the monthly API call limit that we had in place previously. So, do you remember what you used to get for free on the basic, the free plan?
Nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got 1 million API calls across your account. We've gotten rid of that limit, so now you're only sort of constrained by your requests per second limit. So if you were to hit us at 30 requests per second for the entire month, that would be over 77 million API calls, which, as you know, is more than 70x what we used to offer for free.
So we're 70 times different, like,
Yeah,
really?
I would say 70x more generous when it comes to API calls.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's really crazy.
So that's how Parse Core is kind of being priced now.
Yeah, so that's the request limit. There's a couple other things that I'll touch on quickly. One is file storage. So previously you used to get 10 gigabytes of file storage across your account. You now get 20 gigabytes of file storage for each app that you create. And the overage rate is 3 cents per gigabyte, which was previously 20 cents per gigabyte. We picked 3 cents because we don't want developers to worry about what if I'm storing terabytes of data with Parse or even more. So at 3 cents a gigabyte, it's super, super affordable. And so developers can just turn on their account, let it grow, and not worry about the price and how that's going to increase. It's very, very affordable. You also get 20 gigabytes of database storage and 20 gigabytes of file transfer with a very reasonable overage rate of 10 cents per extra gigabyte. So that's Parse Core.
Gotcha. So we also have Parse Push,
Yep.
which a lot of people use Parse Push and don't even use Parse Core. You can use Parse Push for tons of things,
Yep.
and it's been a limiting factor for a lot of people. The cost.
Right.
How are we doing that now?
So we used to charge for the number of actual notifications sent. We used to give you 1 million notifications for free per month. We're now going to give you up to 1 million users, 1 million monthly unique recipients for free for every single app per month. And the overage rate, super, super generous, 5 cents per extra 1,000 users. So if an app has, let's say, 11 million MAUs, monthly active users, they would only pay us $500 a month if they were sending push to all of those users. For context, some of the other third parties out there would charge you tens of thousands of dollars for that.
What do you consider a user? What does Parse consider a user?
Yeah, so in the context of push notifications, a monthly unique recipient or user is basically a device that receives a push within a 30-day period. So for example, Ashley, if I have an app, if Nicole has an app, and you have the app installed on your device, let's say you have the app installed on your iPhone, and I send you 5 notifications over the course of the month, you're just one monthly unique recipient. That's one device, so that only counts as one user. But let's say, Ashley, that you have an iPad and you also have an Android phone. If you have my app installed on both of those devices and I send a push to both devices, that would count as two users or 2 recipients.
I would definitely install your app.
Yeah,
for
appreciate
sure.
it. High five.
Yes. So for analytics,
Yep.
Generally we used to charge for advanced analytics. You have
Right.
to have a pro tier. Do you have to still have that?
No, you don't. So all of the analytics that we offer, including today's growth analytics that were announced, are now all completely free. Previously, they used to count towards your API quota. We no longer have an API quota. Additionally, analytics API calls won't count towards your API request per second limit. So analytics, go ahead and analyze away. We want you to know as much as you possibly can about your users, and feel free to do so without worrying about how that'll affect your limits.
So aside from pricing today, we launched Parse Local Data Store,
Yep.
which is a great way to make your app have the ability to use Parse users and things like that offline.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Or in limited connectivity, like in a tunnel.
Right.
Which happens.
Yep.
Or also for the growth analytics, how does pricing affect the 2 things we launched?
Yeah, so growth analytics, as mentioned, all analytics completely free, including today's growth analytics, so that's awesome. And in terms of a local data store, that's just going to count towards your API request per second limit. Yeah.
So, how do you think developers are going to respond to this pricing? They like it? They hate it? What's going to happen?
We think they're going to really, really love it. And this is not just sort of an internal view that we hold. In fact, the way that we came up with this new pricing is largely from feedback from our existing, over 260,000 apps that are built on Parse, and those, I think 140,000 developers that give us feedback all the time. One of the complaints was we don't know how Parse is going to we don't know how the price is going to change as we scale. We've addressed that with this pricing based on their feedback. Additionally, we actually surveyed a bunch of our customers and non-customers to get feedback on the different iterations of this new pricing model as we sort of progressed with defining how it would look.
Awesome. And when is this taking effect?
This is taking effect today. So new customers that sign up will have this pricing available to them by default. Existing customers will have 6 months to opt in. We think it'll happen much more quickly though, because this is more advantageous for them and for us.
Very cool. And I know we posted a blog today about it with all this information, and parse.com/plans, I believe it is.
Yeah, so Ilya's blog post you can see with all the details, and parse.com/plans has details as well. And there's also a FAQ page as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Awesome.
What are you excited about?
I'm really excited to get a drink. I'm excited for Diplo.
Yeah.
I'm excited to meet some of my partners that are here.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I'm excited to hang out with all the Parse customers here.
Yeah.
So I keep walking around, sitting, trying to hide in corners, and
Yeah,
there's developers
exactly.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So
You're not going to sleep for a few more hours
I'm
at
not
least.
going to sleep for a few more hours.
Yeah. Do we keep talking
Have a good
here
one.
or? Oh yeah.
So
Sorry.
yeah,